The United States Postal Service, as you have likely heard, is caught in the middle of a real political drama right now. A lot of tension and scrutiny. We talked about that earlier with Congressman Stanton. The agency has been accused of making changes that could negatively impact mail-in voting during the pandemic. But yesterday, the Postmaster General, Louis DeJoy, said those changes that he had been making will be put on hold until after the November election to avoid the look of impropriety. DeJoy will be testifying on Capitol Hill tomorrow. So also, attorneys general from some 20 states so far are joining in on litigation to try to reverse the recent changes that had already been made, Arizona not being among those states joining forces. Arizona Attorney General Mark Brnovich responding to a letter from Secretary of State Katie Hobbs, which had called for a criminal investigation into the Postal Service, which the AG's office called purely speculative and suggested that Secretary Hobbs was spreading misinformation. There would be no investigation moving forward. Secretary Hobbs tweeting out a response to the decision to not investigate the Postal Service here at the state, that she was disappointed that the Attorney General was not willing to investigate. And the Attorney General has said his office would, quote, not be swayed by politics. So let's talk about that in this political season. Attorney General Mark Brnovich joining us right now to talk about this decision. So thank you so much for your time this morning. As always, we enjoy being able to see you and be able to understand where you come to these decisions from. So calling the request for investigation just speculative, aren't most requests for investigation that come to your office speculation or the impression that a wrong has been done or is being done, and then your office takes on confirming whether it is valid or not?
Yeah, Olivia, thank you for having me on this morning, and thanks to everyone out there on the Free Family TV and Channel 5. We take every complaint we get seriously. As you know, and I've talked about this before, consumer complaints, we got more than 15,000 consumer complaints, be it criminal complaints, we take them all seriously. We have a duty agent. But at the same time, I've been a federal prosecutor, I've been a state prosecutor. I've spent most of my career putting bad people in prison or jail, trying to protect our communities. I understand the power of the criminal justice system. What we don't need to do is politicize it. We don't need to criminalize political differences. And that's what I worry about what's going on in this country. We have policy disagreements, whether it's about funding or the scope of the federal government. Now, immediately, everyone wants to put someone in prison or investigate that. And those are serious allegations. Those are serious concerns. So we did our due diligence. We looked at the original complaint. There was no complaints in Arizona regarding Postal Service delivery during the recent primary. There was some allegations in the Secretary's original letter about the postmaster conspiring with the president. And the reality is that, here, if you look at the structure of the United States Postal Service, the postmaster doesn't report to the president. He reports to the Board of Governors. So I think there was some fundamental misunderstandings about what was happening. And so I think the great disappointment for all of us is that I think this is just another indication, Lydia, of how broken our political system is in Washington, D.C., where you have people in Congress that can't figure out what to do on the border, they can't figure out what to do with the budget, they can't figure out what to do with the CARES Act and protecting small businesses, but they're going to come back for a dog and pony show to have hearings about really a problem that's purely speculative at this point.
Okay, so let me ask you, though, because the election is coming up, obviously, so it sounds like this is something that if we see evidence that these mail-in ballots were delayed because of some of these changes, then on the other end of it, post-election, you would be able to, or you would find it under the purview of your office to investigate. And also, had this letter to your office been worded differently, maybe say, had President Trump's name been mentioned or not been mentioned at all, is this something that you would have looked at in case rights are going to be compromised in November?
Absolutely. Look at our record. I mean, the problem with so many elected officials is that they say one thing and they do something else. Look at our record. We just recently successfully prosecuted a Republican, Paul Peterson. We've taken on members of the political establishment here. I'm suing the universities that are skyrocketing tuition. So we're willing to take on tough fights. It doesn't matter. I mean, we recently indicted a mayoral candidate in Flagstaff having false signatures. So if there is evidence of wrongdoing, we will absolutely be aggressive. In fact, our office right now is defending 4 election integrity cases in the federal court system. In fact, we have an appeal up right now, the U.S. Supreme Court, about Arizona's election law. So we're willing to do that. We will do that. It doesn't matter. That's the one thing about being a police officer or prosecutor is you go where the evidence takes you. But what you don't do is make stuff up or throw a bunch of stuff against the wall and see what sticks. And so you have to have something that's actually a crime under Arizona law, and then you have to have some evidence or facts substantiate that the crime may have been committed. But we shouldn't be in the business, whether you're a police officer. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm sorry, because we're just about out of time, but I just want to bring to your attention that the USPS executive vice president, who is the counsel there, Thomas Marshall, he did send out a letter to 46 states, including Arizona, that there could be problems with getting the ballots in time based on our mail-in deadlines. So that's not just speculative. There is an issue that could be addressed, and that's why other states are pushing forward, right?
Right. We once again, what are the facts? In August, we just had our primary a couple of weeks ago. We did not receive any complaints about the mail-in system. In fact, I think most of the complaints are people having to wait in line. We have a good system here in Arizona. I mean, I think most of the people here vote by mail. And part of the reason why we have a good system is because we have voter integrity measures in place. And so, at this point, like I said, there's a lot of politics in Washington, D.C. and what's going on. But to say that the president, regardless of what you think about him, committed a criminal act by conspiring with someone when he's not even capable. And that was the point I was making about the Postmaster General, is there's a board of governors, the people you were just referring to. So if the post office has an issue with funding, the remedy in our system of government is to go to Congress and get an appropriation, and then the president, and they have a battle over the budget, and the president signs a budget bill. And so I just think timing-wise, we need to be careful because this is the greatest country in the world, and we don't want to get in a situation where, regardless of whether you're a Democrat or Republican, you start saying that our elections don't have integrity, they've been stolen, they've been rigged. That's very dangerous. That's what they do in third world countries, and we all need to respect the process.
Attorney General Mark Brnovich, always generous with your time here on Good Morning Arizona. Thank you.